Right, welcome, welcome. We're about to get into something that's going to do something. And so we are on, we're back at it with the Tarot correspondence. As you can see, we're on the number the key 8, strength. So before we go any further, welcome to Occult Topics with the Professor. I appreciate the time you're choosing to spend with me. And I do have a few things that I won't say do differently. I noticed that I've been saying like we're gonna look into that, or I've been saying like I'm gonna look up this deity, I'm gonna look up this correspondence, and I don't get to it. So I got all the books here. As something hit me, I'm gonna go right to it because again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, but this is just my study session. But I want to make sure I get the full impact by when a tangent arrives. I don't want to chase it too far down a rabbit hole, but I do want to pursue it and see what it takes me to. So without further ado, if you haven't already, man, tap that like button because we're about to get it in and get into something that's going to do something. Put my phone over here. Got my phone on do not disturb. No, I don't. Put on do not disturb. I'm going to keep an eye out for missed phone calls. So the last card that we went over was the Chariot. Now the Chariot, I can't make this up. Every card that I go over, it impacts my dreams. Now, of course, we know it's a chariot. Today, the chariot is represented in our modern times would be a vehicle, car, some sort. And I've had too many different dreams on different vehicles. I actually have one that kind of stood out where I was in a like an old school van, like maybe a VW van or something. And I was driving through a neighborhood, and even though I was driving, I could see in one of the houses I saw one of my homeboys' mom, and actually I was like in the living room, even though I was driving past. I was in the living room briefly. There was a fork in the road. I was actually speeding in this little in the van. Let me say this: the van was bisected. The top half was white, but it wasn't a like an eggshell white. It was more of a creamy white. The bottom part was like a deep red. Anyway, I bent this corner, turned it too fast. The van tipped over. I remember pressing on the gas and the wheels were like spin. Then I went back to my homeboy's mom's house and we spoke and she said a few things. Now that was the only one that I'll be honest, I kind of shelved that one because I couldn't get to the meat of it right away. And that's what I do. When I have these dreams, I'm not in any kind of rush to decode it. Message received, and my subconscious and my unconscious mind is working in tandem with my conscious mind, and I'm moving forward. I'm looking forward to receiving further messages to lock it in. I don't put that pressure. Uh, I don't put that pressure on myself to say that, oh, I got it. This means that I was in the sphere of Geberah, which is possible, but still, this and that. And I just, certain ones I put on the shelf and I just chew on it. So now we're going into the strength card. I got my own card here, my Rider-Waite. Actually, today on my unboxing, I unboxed my Dr. Paul Foster Case tarot decks that I'm going to have to color myself. So until I get there, I'm going to continue to use the Rider-Waite deck. And the first one I'm going to begin with is Teach Yourself Tarot. This is by Phillip Cooper, and it is Teach Yourself Tarot the quick and easy way. And let's get right down to it. Oh, green. Oh, I got Callie rocking in the back. I've been rocking with Callie all day today. Usually it's Ganesha, but today I decided to rock with Cream Kali Namaha. Man, it's a little too low. I think I want a little more volume on it. That's perfect. Okay, so this is Key 8, synopsis. Key 8, strength, synopsis. A time to stand firm and have faith. Obstacles will be overcome if the inquirer has courage. Inner strength should be recognized. General description. This card is of spiritual strength and courage. A ferocious lion has been calmed by gentle faith, indicating that inner strength can overcome seemingly insurmountable difficulties. Inner strength, spiritual, things of that nature. The symbol of eternal life hangs over the head of the woman in the picture, crowned and adorned with garlands of flowers. She holds open the jaws of the lion. Now, what I found particular just in contemplating and meditating on the symbols portrayed in the card is that number one, it's a female and she's taming a male lion. I thought that was very significant. You can see the differences in the decks. On the left, on the screen, that is the Bota deck. No, that on the left, that is the on the left is the Bota deck, and on the right is the Rider Waite. I just find the Bota decks to be far more expressive. To me, it's very expressive. You see that in the Rider Waite deck, she has the garland of roses around her waist. But in the Bota deck, the garland of roses is around the lion's neck. There's also another major difference in that in the Rider Waite deck, the lion's tail is clearly between his legs, meaning he's tamed. And he's actually licking her hand. Whereas in the Bota deck, the tail is up. That symbolizes, like if you have a cat or any animal that symbolizes alertness, definitely not tamed, but under control. And the lemescate, the infinity sign above Strength's head is a sky blue, whereas on the Rider Waite deck, it's black. So that's just an superficial. Let me go get a highlighter because I'm going to do my highlight. That's something else I haven't been doing. If I was studying on my own, I would definitely be highlighting passages. So let me go get an ink pen and a highlighter. All right, I'm using orange today. I don't know why, but I picked up orange. So the next book I'm going to dive into, let's see if we get the cover of the show. This is The Pictorial Key to the Tarot by Arthur Edward Waite. Kali Kaye Namu Nama. Okay, what he has here, strength or fortitude. A woman over whose head there broods the same symbol of life which we have seen in the card of the magician, is closing the jaws of a lion. The only point in which this design differs from the conventional presentations is that her beneficent fortitude has already subdued the lion. And that was the thing I pointed out initially. We see that she has subdued the lion, and this was through her beneficent fortitude. Beneficent being a form of what's the best way to describe beneficence? It's usually used in reference to deities. It's a higher aspect of like compassion and magnificence, I guess, mixed together. Read the last part. The only point in which this design differs from the conventional presentations is that her beneficent fortitude has already subdued the lion, which is being led by the chain of flowers. So in his deck, it's not clear that the lion is being led by a chain of flowers, but clearly it is from the Bota deck. For reasons which satisfy myself, This card has been interchanged with that of justice. Something else I've read in other books, that the justice and the strength card have been kind of like interchanged over the years. And he said this was his personal preference, mind you. For reasons which satisfy myself, this card has been interchanged with that of justice, which is usually numbered 8. As the variation carries nothing with it which will signify to the reader, there is no cause for explanation. Basically, if you do the work, you'll understand why he chose to interchange it. Fortitude is one of its most exalted aspects. Fortitude, in one of its most exalted aspects, is connected with the divine mystery of union. Now, I paused there because we went from the lovers to the chariot to strength, which would imply a connection to the previous two, even though each tarot card corresponds to every one that went before it. As you pointed out, the Lemescape, the infinity symbol above her head, that could be traced back to the magician. Fortitude, in one of its most exalted aspects, is connected with the divine mystery of union. The virtue, of course, operates in all planes and hence draws on all in its symbolism. It connects also with innocentia inviolata and with the strength which resides in contemplation. Talk about meditation there. Let me look up this word, innocentia inviolata, which was innocence and inviolate, but we'll still get the direct translation. Innocentia inviolata. And it is translated as that was from the translation. Innocence inviolable. Innocence that cannot be violated. All right. I'm sorry, I'm rocking out to this Kali mantra. Fire. These higher meanings are, however, matters of inference, and I do not suggest that they are transparent on the surface of the card. They are intimated in a concealed manner by the chain of flowers, which signifies, among many other things, the sweet yoke and the light burden of divine law. When it has been taken into the heart of hearts, the card has nothing to do with self-confidence in the ordinary sense. Now, what caught me right there was when he said heart of hearts. Roses generally reflect the heart and love. So we're going to stop right here real quick and look up flowers and roses. I believe, well, he says flowers. He doesn't specifically say roses. So we're going to still look up roses, but let's do a quick tangent and see. First, I'm going to go to the Dictionary of All Myths and Secrets by G.A. Gaskill. Let's see what he says about flowers. Flowers, a symbol of the virtues which the soul is potentially endowed and which blossom to the light as the higher self draws them from wait. A symbol of the virtues which the soul is potentially endowed and which blossom to the light as the higher self draws them forth in evolution. So here we have the latent divine reality within has come to itself and is rising up into living union. See, he dropped enough clues. I'm beginning to appreciate Wait more. I'm gonna have to say that after arriving to key number 8. I am beginning, because he encourages you to be a student and to do the work. And if you see here, these are all the key words and the buzzwords he's been dropping in just 2 paragraphs already. The latent divine reality within has come to itself and is rising up into living union with that from which it came, as the flower rises towards the sun in high heavens. For indeed, all the beauty the flower possesses is that same sun incarnate, very light bursting forth from its prison. Now, I think that's very applicable to the lion card, to the strength card, because we have the lion, and the lion is indicative of the sun. Matter of fact, while we at it, let's see what G.A. Gaskill has to say about the lion. I'm a be no lion. I don't know why y'all be hating on the Wiz. And the Wiz removed a lot of key symbols, but it was still, I like it. All right, lion, a symbol of power and manifestation, or of might, strength, and courage, as forces of the lower quaternary. Quaternary meaning 4 or 4 quarters. Among beasts, they become lions haunting the mountains, whose couch is the ground. This is Empedocles, Fairbanks, page 438. Among the lower emotional qualities, strength of will and courage are the means of fostering ambitions which are rooted in the lower nature. That's the flower aspect. Flower blossoms from the ground, bursting forth into the light and reaching towards heaven. So it's about drawing from within and then bringing it up and causing it to manifest and then elevate. Okay, I can rock with that. For as much as the nature of everything is compounded of different elements, in Holy Writ, different things are allowably represented by any one thing. That's the law of correspondence. For the lion has magnanimity, it has also ferocity. By its magnanimity, then it represents the Lord. By its ferocity, the devil. Oh, not only correspondence, but duality, polarity. Hence, it is declared of the Lord, behold, the lion of the tribe of Judah. I always think of Judah when I think of lion, more so because of Jah Rastafari. It says, hence it is declared of the Lord, behold, the lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed. And this is Revelations 5, verse 5. Hence it is written of the devil, your adversary, the devil, like a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. I had always heard that scripture growing up, and it never stuck, but it will now. Lion's also red. Red is one of the colors symbolizing fire. Sun is heat. Yeah. But red would be a different octave from orange or yellow. Red being a lower octave, right? Yellow, which is the back of that card, signifying the sun, is a higher octave, synonymous with the physical sun and Tiferet, crucified saviors like Christ, and anybody else would be a Christ figure. A symbol, we must remember, may mean 2 entirely different and opposing things. Thus, the lion may symbolize the evil spirit walking about as a lion to devour his prey, or the all-conquering Christ, the lion of the tribe of Judah, our Lord, to compare the kingdom of heaven in one of his parables to leaven. Leaven is bread that rises, right? Yet elsewhere he spoke in an entirely different sense of the leaven in the scribes and Pharisees. Oh, they're just showing that the Christ, he showed the power of correspondences and the opposites they possess, and referring the kingdom of heaven to leaven, and then the scribes and Pharisees. Even if you're not serious into the Bible, everybody should know the contempt with which Jesus the Christ held the scribes and Pharisees. And that is it. There is here lion god double, but that wouldn't apply to what we're looking at. Then lion gate of Buddha. Lion Gate of Buddha, a symbol of strength and powerful self as the victor over the lower nature of the soul. Let's read that. I, Buddha, am born for supreme knowledge, for the welfare of the world. Thus, this is my last birth. Thus did he of Lion Gate, and gate is spelled Gait, as in walking, gait. Gazing at the four quarters. Remember, he said he was, let's go back real quick, because he said of the four quarters, and remember, he spoke of the quaternaries here. I believe it was here. Give me a second, Agenda Justice. Must have been here. Oh no. See? The quaternary must have been spoken of in Philip Cooper's book. Now this is bothering me. Where did we read about the quaternary and its connection to it had to have been in Gaskill. I remember speaking on quaternary quarters. All right. This is going to bother me because I know I just read it. We've only read out of these three books. So I'm going to go one more time back to wait. Let me go line by line instead of scanning. What's amazing how spirit will set something out there and pull it away, which is designed for me to do further research because I know for a fact that I read that. Oh no, see, I forgot something. What did we read before lion? We read flower. So maybe it was there. Flowers, a symbol of virtues which the soul is potentially endowed and which blossom to the light of the higher self draws forth from evolution. The latent divine reality within has come to itself and is rising into living union with that from which it came as the flower rises towards the sun in high heaven. For indeed, all the beauty of the flower possesses is that of the same incarnate, buried light coming forth from its prison. Oh, wow. All right. I'm not gonna chase that rabbit down the hole right now. It slipped for me. Hopefully, if somebody was paying attention, drop it when you get it, when you find it. But I'm gonna make a note to myself to look into that. Give myself a note right here. And that right there, this little glitch in the matrix right now, got me feeling like I'm dreaming because this is the nature of my dreams. Quaternary. All right. They turn these fans on here. It is blazing hot in Cali. I got this light on because if I don't have the light on, let's see how it looks. Oh, I got the light on to charge my laptop. Laptop charged. Let's see how dark it is. Not too dark. Can you see the titles of these books? Not really. Don't matter because I'm gonna call them out. I'm for Trump fan. Oh, I light another incense. I hope you guys like me going off on tangents. We know let's get a little light this way. I don't like that. Let's see how this shows for the book. A little better. Bump it. But it is hot, and I'm not gonna swelter for the sake of showing you a book cover when I can read the title. Let's light this up. Got a fan going. I can't light my incense. Now, what I have now, to be honest, I'm running out of incense. The store that I used to go to stack up on, they have went out of business, and they had the best selections, good prices, stuff like that. Corner store do be having some good ones, but I'll be honest, I'm not meditating to the scent of cool water cologne. I'm not meditating to Barack Obama or any of these other weird ass scents they be having at these liquor stores. I will get the Nam Champa ones and things like that. But other than that, miss me. What I'm burning now, these are chakra incense, which I use for my chakra meditations. And I want to say, if this is, okay, this is Vishuddha, throat chakra action, all right? All right, I got a fan going, got the incense going. Let's get back to it. So it says here, I'm gonna go back to the beginning of this paragraph. These higher meanings are, however, matters of inference. I do not suggest that they are transparent on the surface of the card. They are, intimated in a concealed manner by the chain of flowers, which signifies, among many other things, the sweet yoke and the light burden of divine law, when it has been taken into the heart of hearts. The card has nothing to do with self-confidence in the ordinary sense. We're talking about on a spiritual plane, though this has been suggested, but it concerns the confidence of those whose strength is God, who have found their refuge in Him. There is one aspect in which the lion signifies the passions, and she who is called strength is the higher nature in its liberation. It has walked upon the asp and the basilisk, and has trodden down the lion and the dragon. The asp is a serpent. The basilisk is a type of serpent. I'm gonna look them up. This is J.E. Surlott's Dictionary of Symbols. Let's go through the 40 names. Let's look up the asp first, if it's even in here. No asp. Let's look up the basilisk. Basilisk, a fabulous animal with a snake's body, pointed head, and a three-pointed crest. In medieval descriptions, it was said to be born of a yolkless egg laid by a cock and hatched by a toad on a bed of dung, and to have a three-pointed tail, glittering eyes, and a crown on its head. Its glance was believed to be lethal, so that it could only be destroyed while its assailant was watching it in a mirror. Reminds you of Medusa, correct? This belief is related to the myth of the Gorgon's head in the East. Its body was supposed to be a mixture of cock, snake, and toad. According to Diel, Diel, this projected image of the human psyche is clearly infernal in character, as is shown by its threefold attributes of the qualities of the Trinity, and also by the predominance of the evil components, such as the toad and the snake. It is one of the many keepers of treasure mentioned in legend. So we know that by all these points, what he's saying about it, being evil, you have to understand it's not evil in the sense that it's going to come and get you. It is evil in the sense that it represents darkness or the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind. I want to see if Gaskiel has the basilisk in here. He should. I got to rock with my man Gaskiel. Cooper. What? You tripping, Gaskiel? Why you don't have the basilisk in your book? All right, let me go to J.E. Cooper. What's this? Symbols or Hans Bitterman? I got some books stacked everywhere. Bitterman. This is 17 books at a time I'm reading. I don't have the space, truthfully. Well, let me say this. I have the space, but not to sit in front of a laptop. Normally, these books should be spread out on me, in front of me. I usually read in my room, so they'd be on the bed around me, or if I'm at my desk in the room. So let's see what Cooper has to say about the basilisk. Let's see if he has the asp in here as well. He surely does. Christian evil, venom, Egyptian solar, royalty, dominion and power, Greek, protective and benevolent power. So we see it has different meanings according to different cultures. But we just pointed out from Gaskiel how these symbols can have diametrically opposite meanings in terms of heavenly or hellish, just to name a couple. So the basilisk, fabulous beast. It was called that in Sherlock's book. Fabulous beast, fantastic beast. Fabulous beasts. We'll read the intro, then go to the cockatrice. I'm gonna read the interest, and I'm gonna read this first paragraph, and then I'm gonna get to what he says. The combination of fabulous beasts. The combination of different characteristics suggests other possibilities of creation and potentialities. Also, freedom from the conventional principles of the phenomenal world. Composite monsters are also symbolic of the primordial chaos or the fearsome and terrifying powers of nature. Sometimes two fabulous beasts or winged beasts are depicted on either side of the tree of life, and frequently at doors as guardians or as guardians of treasure. Treasure is always buried in darkness, which is in your mind, deep buried in your subconscious, I should say, or unconscious. It says here, or as guardians of treasure, either of underground wealth or of esoteric knowledge. So he followed up what I was saying. Frightful monsters represent the evil or chaotic forces in the world or in man's own nature, or they can be symbols of pestilence or destructive forces. They are usually fought by a god or hero such as Marduk, the creator, overcoming Tiamat as primordial chaos, Theseus and the Minotaur, or knights slaying dragons. These represent the triumph of order over chaos and good over evil, or light over darkness. The gaping jaws of a monster signify the gates of hell or the entrance to the underworld. Let me turn this down a little bit because Callie going crazy. Callie going crazy. That's too low. Blessings on blessings on blessings to me. Basilisk cockatrice, a bird and reptile combination with the head. Now think about it, a bird and a reptile. This is as above, this is above and below. Bird and a reptile, which if you don't know where everybody's at a different place, but they say that dinosaurs and reptiles were the descendants, the ancient descendants to birds. So they're opposites, but they're the same, right? A bird and a reptile combination with the head and claws of a bird and the body of a serpent. When the tail ends in another head, it is the amphisbaena. Remember, we discussed that dealing with the chariot card, and that's the double-headed serpent, right? In Christianity, it is the devil or the Antichrist, one of the four aspects of the devil. Behemoth, usually supposed to be the hippopotamus, represents the power of the land as opposed to Leviathan, the power of the sea, and Ziz, the power of the air. Benhu/Benu, the bird sometimes equated with the phoenix. It incarnates the soul of Osiris. Bucentaur, half man, half bull, the dual nature of man. Then the incense is blowing in the fan, and that shit got me sneezing. But that means blessings, right? No, sneezes means somebody talking about you, right? I don't doubt that at all. So we have lion, the basilisk, asp, basilisk, lion, and the dragon. Thank you, Mr. Waite. Because of the strength card, I have come to appreciate the subtlety of your gnosis. Now let's go to Barbara G. Walker. And we'll go right to number 8. Oh, Kli Kali Kaye Namu Namaha. Oh, now see, Barbara G. Walker has justice in its original place, so we're gonna rock with that. Give me a water. Okay. You know what I'm gonna do too? Let me get this comfortable chair. There we go. So even though she has justice there, I'm gonna try to read justice. I guess that'd be a nice parallel. We can compare as to why Waite chose to interchange them. So why not? 8, justice. After the transitory glory of the chariot ride, the major arcana presented a rather grim figure, the goddess Justice, balancing pleasures against pains in her scale, apparently demanding payment of a karmic debt. Oriental sages said life's pleasures usually come before its pains. But the greater the glory, the deeper must be the corresponding atonement. Ooh. From this notion of karmic balance arose the Gnostic precept traditionally associated with Lucifer, that pride must precede a fall. Though men might feel themselves to be gods, yet the goddess of fate, under her very names, exacted just compensation for her gifts. It was precisely those who rode highest in the world chariot who must eventually endure the most painful service. For every action, an equal and opposite reaction. Such was the karmic law. The Gnostic view of justice with her balances was essentially the same as Oriental view of the fate goddess who worked out the karmic laws. She appeared in classic Greek philosophies under various names such as Dike, justice, Ananke, necessity, nemesis, retribution, and Her- Hermione. Hermione? Hermione. 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 Heimarmene. Allotted fate. These were not abstract principles, but a firmly personified goddess figure in each case. worshipped as a mother of both generation and destruction. The ubiquitous birth and death goddess whose character has been so thoroughly eradicated from Western imagery. Stoic philosophers regarded her as the ruler of the entire universe, a creator and destroyer of the very gods themselves. Orphics accepted this opinion of her and also declared that her spouse was Chronos, time, in whose realm the principles of justice inevitably acted sooner or later. I can rock with that. Justice being married to time. Let's quote, time and I can defeat any adversary. The whole creation was subjected to the manipulations of the goddess from whom nothing could be concealed. The inexorable lady of fate or justice was older than Stoic philosophy. She appeared early in the cultures of Egypt, Babylon, and Phoenicia. To the Egyptians, she was Ma'at, the mother, whose name was synonymous with truth or justice. In her balances, a man's heart, soul, Ab, was weighed against her symbol, the feather of truth. A man was weighed in the balances and found wanting, as the Bible translated the Egyptian phrase, Daniel 5:27, would be consumed in the underworld by the goddess's destroyer aspect, a monster called Ammon, the devourer of hearts. You were weighed and found wanting. Brings to mind Moon Knight. When he was placed on that scale, it wobbled, but the decision wasn't immediately. I would say, in this instance, you have action at balancing those scales before incurring some sort of karmic debt. So if you notice an imbalance, you take the steps to balance it out. West of Egypt, Phoenician/Carthaginian worshippers of Astarte established societies having the same concept of the goddess retributive duality. As Astraea, the starry one, she was the virgin queen of heaven associated with the constellation Aragon, Virgo, accompanied by the black bitch Maera, her furry-like dog of the law. In Homeric myth, Maera was the spirit of retribution embodied in the Trojan queen Hecuba or Hekabe, who was Hecate as moon goddess made flesh. After Hercules' death, her soul appeared as Maera and terrified her Greek murderers, who greatly feared their victims' curse of vengeance. Romans knew the Carthaginian queen of heaven as the mother of Libya or Liberia, presiding deity of the Liberalia festival. Her consort was Bacchus, titled Father Liber. Her name was sometimes rendered Libra, the mother of Libya or Liberia. She became the astrological lady of the scales, holding her balance and sword as she was shown by the tarot. The astrological version of Libra was always associated with Venus, another Latin title of the same goddess. An ancient stele from the site of Carthage showed the goddess in conjunction with her figure eight symbol of perfect equilibrium. And we see the figure eight, known as the Lemescate or the infinity symbol above the head. This is card number 8. Perfect equilibrium, which became the infinity sign, as well as the numeral given to Justice's tarot card. So 8 can infer either justice or strength. Let's think some more. Even though I'm pretty sure that Robert Wang is going to give us a better breakdown as to why these two cards became interchanged. Justice may just fit there. Perhaps the appearance of the same symbol on trump card number 11, strength, contributed to the confusion between the two cards, which led the Golden Dawn Society to transpose them in certain tarot packs. From a Gnostic viewpoint, also both, okay, I get it. I get it. From a Gnostic viewpoint, justice made more sense in her original number 8 position, between the brash hero of the chariot and the lonely hermit, number 9, starting his solitary pilgrimage. In sequence, the 3 cards strongly suggested the typical Oriental idea that after the period of Bhavanan, husbandship, and worldly success, karmic law demanded that a man should renounce his material possessions before any fatal retribution could fall on his family. He should go alone into the wilderness to fast and meditate. Thus, he might pass into a more spiritual stage of life and acquire the enlightenment of deeper maturity, which seemed to be the basis of the hermit call. So now, ask and he shall receive, we're finding out the differences. So in the Oriental decks, chariot, justice, hermit. So after a certain amount of material success or even spiritual success of the chariot, you come to justice to balance out your scales. Make certain that none of that went to your head. And then from there, you would go to the hermit card, and which essentially means that you give away your ego, those things that might cause you to fall. And then the hermit would suggest solitude, meditation, contemplation, things of that nature. The card of justice was also known as the judge, Ma'at, or Mary Magdalene. The appearance of Mary Magdalene in Tarot tradition may have been a result of Gnostic opinion that she, not St. Peter, was the true pope who received spiritual power directly from Jesus and transmitted it to her Gnostic disciples. The dialogue of the Savior called her the woman who knew all and said her wisdom, vision, and insight surpassed all the male apostles. The Gospel of Mary equated her with the Virgin Queen of Heaven as a Trinitarian goddess figure, saying all 3 Marys of the Gospels were one and the same. Rock with that. In Jesus' words, she was Mary Ham, the happy heiress of the kingdom of light. Other Gnostic writings called her the primal feminine power, the mother and daughter. Medieval Christians, honoring her as a saint, made her yet another transformation of the pagan great mother by claiming that she governed all wisdom, love, birth, and death. She ruled the earth's production of food and could restore life, to the dead. Therefore, the scale she held meant the same as the similar scales in the hand of the earlier goddess figures. She controlled the balance of fate and meted out justice. According to more recent representations of justice in Western iconography, she wore a blindfold. The origin of this is obscure. It may have been an ecclesiastical addition, implying that the goddess's judgments were blindly arbitrary or unenlightened. However, the Tarot agreed with earlier images. Her cards show justice with the straight, piercing, all-seeing eye that used to be attributed to Ma'at. That a female should be the natural judge of men's activities was a profound ancient idea dating back to the matriarchal Neolithic, or perhaps even earlier, to a time when women chose their mates like other female animals by critically assessing men's performance in tasks or contests. The oldest mythologies show the original tablets of law given on the mountaintops by the goddess, not by the god as depicted in the Bible. Sumerians said Mother Tiamat, the creatress, gave the tablets of law to her firstborn son Kingu, the first lord of the world whose sacrificial blood nourished future generations. The Aegean great mother Demeter under her older name of Rhea Dictina, Rhea the lawgiver, dictated her edicts to Minoan kings from Mount Dicte, her holy mountain of the word. She long remained the supreme arbiter of law under the title of nemesis or due enactment. True matriarchs were the judges in pre-patriarchal Israel, Judges 4:4, and also in pre-Christian Europe until the church usurped their authority and began to call them witches. Yet they retained their judicial function for a long time. The Magna Carta of Chester mentioned Euduces. What's your fool, buddy? Eudices de weak justices or judges who were also witches. That is, they were the wise women, descended from the tribal matriarch. Up to the Renaissance, the figure of justice was still synonymous with Estrella, Aragon, Virgo. The poet Philip called her that royal and great goddess by whom cities and empires are preserved in pride. Without her, no kingdom can long endure. What I like most about Barbara G. Walker, this is her book, The Secrets of Tarot, Origins, History, and Symbolism. She provides much needed balance because most of the information that we get and read is told from a male perspective. And by that, I mean gender. Remember, we were talking earlier about masculine and feminine, and the divine sense is not an expression of gender. But we will get these books that are expressed in terms of gender, where it's man this, man this, man this, man this. And so I appreciate her because she gives you that the other aspect that you may have been missing, like another instance. Okay. Thank you, Barbara G. Now, let's get to my guy in them. This is Dr. Paul Foster Case, the classic guide, the Tarot, a key to the wisdom of ages. This I will be highlighting. Tet, as in the, also T, value 9. Remember, value 9, even though the fool is 0, roll the 9th card. Means snake. See, now, without the Hebrew letter, we don't get the correspondence of the basilisk, the asp, the lion, and the dragon. A dragon is just a snake with legs. A basilisk is a combination of a bird and a reptile, a bird and a snake, or a bird and a dragon. So we're going to have to eventually look up the dragon. Maybe bump some Cisco. Unleash the dragon. Man, a while ago, I had an Instagram name. It was the something basilisk. I surely did. I can't think of the name of it now. Years ago. Tet, as in the, also T, value 9 means snake, symbol of what has been known among occultists for ages as the serpent power, Kundalini. You know what? I just got a book in today. It was in my unboxing today. And I remarked that it had a bomb image on the very first page, which was the wing, the caduceus with the wings, the 2 serpent heads. The actual staff was a sword with the serpents intertwined, and then in the center was the Masonic square and compass. I thought that was interesting. It caught my attention, and then to read this let me know I'm right where I need to be. This was what Moses typified by his brazen image in the wilderness. It is the astral light of the life is leading, the force designated in theosophy by the term Fohat. I've heard Fohat a lot. It is the cosmic electricity, the universal life principle, the conscious energy which takes form as all things and builds everything from within. The control of this energy in its subhuman forms by mental means is the primary secret of practical occultism. The serpent also symbolizes secrecy, subtlety, and wisdom. Thus, in the allegory of Genesis, the tempter is the snake. The devil is called the old serpent. The serpent power is the source of illusion, and thus the father of lies. Yet, when it is overcome, it becomes the instrumentality of salvation. Again, because the ancients observed that serpents cast their skin, the snake was taken to be a type of reincarnation, regeneration, and immortality. Taste is the sense. And digestion the function assigned to Tet by Kabbalists. Literally, digestion is feeding, and this recalls the familiar serpent biting its own tail, which we have seen in the picture of the magician. And that was his belly, the Ouroboros. Um, the serpent power feeds on itself. That is, it is self-sustaining. Scientifically, this is correct. The sum total of the universal conscious energy remains ever the same. It enters into various forms of expression, and these feed on one another. Hence, the serpents on the caduceus or wand of Hermes represent this law of endless transformation and conversion. North and above, the direction assigned to Tet. I'm pausing now because I'm thinking back on the dream that I just shared about my vehicle overturning at a crossroad. North above the direction Samtet is represented on the cube of space by the upper boundary, the northern face, which is the point of junction between the face and the top of the cube. That's what made me think perhaps that red was transitioning me over to the strength part. It's possible. The line connects the upper points of the northeast cube of the wait. This line connects the upper points of the line northeast and the line northwest. These are the lines corresponding respectively to key 4, the emperor, and key 11, justice. People at work always wonder why I come back tired after a couple of days off. Because that's what I do, motherfucker. It's what I do. I read books and I know things. Get all the sleep I want when they put me in that clean ass suit. The northern face of the cube is represented in Tarot by key 16, the tower, symbolizing the planet Mars. The fiery activity, which has for its most obvious manifestations the disintegration of forms. In digestion, the first step is the breaking up of food by mastication, followed by further disintegration in chemistry of the stomach and the intestines. So now I get it. Why it's taste and disintegration. And then the color red, Mars, are breaking that up. I'm starting to think now that that dream I had It didn't, even though I was in a vehicle, so I knew it somewhat applied to the chariot. I remember thinking this don't have nothing to do with the chariot. I mean, not directly. I felt like it was indirectly, and it indirectly involved the chariot card, but I was clearly progressing, came to a crossroads and overturned or disturbed this vehicle. And then the red and white, clearly, red is the Mars aspect. And quite possibly the white, that I wasn't grounded in Tiferet. I mean, in Kepler. All right, let's keep it rocking. The disintegrating activity under the conscious self-direction of the mental states, typified by Mercury and the magician above, is the basis of practical work in occultism. If you don't have this book, I'm gonna recommend you get it. Paul Foster Case. Get this book, especially if you're in tarot, especially if you've read all the other weight stuff. You're way more advanced than me, but I'm certain that this will help to tie in some more things that you probably suspected or know intuitively but can't put to words. Says here, until one is wise enough to select and digest the proper source of food, he is not ready to experiment with the higher laws of control which enable adepts to perform their mighty works. Corresponding to it, based on the principal expression in the Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, is right selection and assimilation of mental food. So be careful what you ingest, because you are what you eat. You know, kind of touched on that earlier too. I'm not sure if it was in the my unboxing or here, but I was saying how some people say, man, I don't have to read books, you know. These books written by agents, I just get the downloads. That is just as bad as coming across a meme on social media and now you figure something out. You saw a meme on Saturn and now you know just why Saturn is evil. That's just as bad. So you want to be selective about, or I'll put it another way too, when it comes to digestion, something might taste good, but does it digest well? Might give you heartburn, upset stomach, indigestion, diarrhea. I can say for myself at 49 years old, I finally accepted that I love garlic, but I cannot eat it like that, because while it tastes good, it leaves me rumbly in the tumbly. You know what I'm saying? And that's where you become discerning in terms of what you ingest, more so for how it's going to process and be digested and then manifest or shit it out, right? Leo, the lion, a fixed sign of fiery quality, is attributed to the letter Tet. Leo is ruled by the sun, key 19. It governs the sides, back, heart, and spinal column. It is the sign attributed in Hebrew occultism to the tribe of Judah. The astrological symbol for Leo resembles a serpent, and the sign governing the spine is thus related to the nerve currents directed upward through the spinal centers in the practice of yoga. I'm gonna stop right there, because what a lot of people don't realize is that the serpent and the lion are actually one. A dragon is like a cross mixture of the two. You'll notice that if you look at a lot of the old drawings of either lions or even dragons, they all have the same kind of, especially Chinese dragons and lions. They all have that feminine, obviously I won't say feminine quality, but they have that serpentine quality. Yeah. And if you think about it, there are several images of deities. One in particular is the demiurge. The demiurge is often predicted as a snake-headed lion or a lion's head on top of a man's body, things of that nature. It says the astrological symbol for Leo resembles a serpent, and the sign governing the spine is thus related to the nerve currents directed upward through the spinal centers in the practice of yoga. In modern astrology, Leo is said to be the sign of exaltation of Neptune, key 12, the hangman, and the color assigned to Leo is yellow. His musical tone is E natural. Intelligence of the secret of all spiritual activities, or intelligence of the secret of works, is the mode of consciousness attributed by Kabbalists to Tet. Here it should be borne in mind that all activities are spiritual, in the literal sense of spirit, as the cosmic life breath. Part of the secret is the law that all forces and activities whatsoever are transmutations and conversions of the one conscious energy. Other phases of this law will be touched upon in our analysis of the symbols of key 8. He goes in. Kind of want another water. Actually, what we'll do is take a quick brizzle. A quick brizzle, my missile. Sorry about that. I realized that my daughter has an eyeglass appointment. Double check the time. So if I can't get through, I hate feeling rushed. Maybe I'll just do a part 2. I think I will. And part 2 will encompass, I'll finish the Paul Foster case information. And part 2 will include Manly P. Hall, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, the Kabbalistic Tarot, and then all the other reference books. Oh, and of course, when we talk about the paths, we'll be going into Dolores Ashcroft Nawicki on Shining Paths. So yeah, I hate feeling rushed. But hey, it is what it is. So this will definitely be a 2-parter. Strength. Okay, we're picking up here. I'm gonna read that last paragraph before I have to pause out. Intelligence of the secret of all spiritual activities, or intelligence of the secret works, is the mode of consciousness attributed by Kabbalists to Tet. Here it should be borne in mind that all activities are spiritual in the literal sense of spirit, as the cosmic life breath, because spirit means breath. Part of the secret is the law that all forces and activities whatsoever are transmutations and conversions of the one conscious energy. Other phases of this law will be touched upon in our analysis of the symbols of key 8. Strength, the title key 8, is sometimes given as force, and occasionally, but incorrectly, as fortitude. He always shoot jabs at weight, because weight referred to as fortitude. He said this is incorrect. It is courage, only as courage is derived from conscious knowledge of the law typified by symbolism. The correct titles, strength or force, allude to the fiery life power, which is the source of all human action. The yellow background of the picture agrees with the color attributed to Leo in our scale. In the distance is a mountain peak, like the one shown in key 6. And key 6 would be the Lovers, having the same meanings in contrast to the urban aspect of key 7. The scene here is an uninhibited plain. Oh, we got a Bij, Kali Bij mantra. Go back. The yellow background of the picture agrees with the color attributed to Leo in our color scale. In the distance is a mountain peak like the one shown in key 6, having the same meanings in contrast to the urban aspect of key 7. Because if you remember, the chariot, which means fence, is behind him was an enclosed city or town. The scene here is an uninhabited plain. It is a plain in a valley, suggesting a level of actual existence, but the absence of houses indicates that the conditions here are those of nature, apart from human artifice. The woman's yellow hair identifies her with the empress so that we may understand her to represent creative imagination and the subconscious generation of mental imagery. Now, that just struck to mind those who like to decode. You take the blonde hair to signify this, black hair to signify that, brown hair to signify something else. So here we get a key in terms of understanding that the yellow hair will link that card or even person to the Empress card. I've heard this one before. It's kind of jazzy. What word? The woman's yellow hair identifies her with the Empress so that we may understand her to represent creative imagination and the subconscious generation of mental imagery. Instead of a wreath, she wears a crown of flowers. Indicating that at the point of development shown by key 8, the forces of organic life are nearer to fruition. Over her head is the same horizontal 8 that hovers over the head of the magician. It has the same meaning. It further intimates that something of the magician's quality has been transferred to the woman. It indicates the fact that the subconsciousness receives the impress of self-conscious mental states and is modified by self-conscious selectivity and initiative. We got this in key 6 with the lovers. That self-conscious communicates to subconscious, subconscious communicates to superconscious. Even as the outcome of the digestive power processes themselves governed by subconsciousness depends on our conscious selection of food and our conscious attention to the preliminary work of mastication. So does the outcome of subconscious operations in general depend for good or ill on the selection and direction, which are the particular business of the self-conscious plane of mind. Note in this connection that on the cube of space, the line north above is at the top of the cube or at the level of the upper surface, which is assigned to key 1, the magician. The unornamented white robe of the woman signifies purity in the strictest sense of the word, which means freedom from mixture, because white is the color assigned to Kether, the crown. See, now my dream is actually coming in a clearer picture. So I'm glad I didn't just like rush to decide. Because white is the color assigned to Kether, the crown, which is the uppermost circle of the Kabbalistic diagram of the tree of life. This color, wherever it appears in Tarot symbolism, relates to the pure spiritual influence of the primal wheel. So at some point, my chariot tipped over, but the engine still worked. It just wasn't going nowhere. So that means that I don't want to say means, but it can indicate that I found myself stuck at a crossroads, so to speak. Most likely, I was trying to cross the abyss, bringing too much baggage. Around her waist is a chain of roses, twisted, though this detail is not very clear in the picture, so as to form another figure 8. Oh, I can see the figure 8. If you look at the card on the left, which is the Bolter card, it goes around the lion's head and then twines around her waist. So there's another lemesque, infinity symbol around her waist. And Dr. Waite says the woman leads the lion by a chain of flowers. It signifies artistic adaptation, chain, of desire roses. When we learn how to weave our desires together into a chain, rejecting our desires which are incompatible with our main purpose, and coordinating those we do decide upon as fitting to our purpose, we shall be able to make wonderful applications of creative imagination to the control and direction of the serpent power. The lion, as a king of beasts, represents all subhuman forces, all subhuman expressions of the cosmic vital electricity. The king stands for all his subjects. His color refers to the alchemical red line, symbol of sulfur, purified and sublimated by its amalgamation with mercury. I'm becoming more and more convinced. I'm glad I tried to set that dream up aside. I haven't got to. I'm what I'm doing now is I still haven't decoded it, but what I am doing is I'm setting aside the tools that I will need to work on it and come to a decisive conclusion. Like I said, I had a lot of dreams in terms of the chariot. One was I was on the outside of like a silver rocket, and I was on the outside holding on. I could look inside. I believe it was like some Star Trek people, like Worf or something. And I was given a guided tour from the outside. And when I was ready for the end, I told them to land. And I explained to them that, I was showing them how to ride it from the outside, which was like high side and doing too much anyway. The lion, as king of beasts, represents all subhuman forces, all subhuman expressions of the cosmic vital electricity. The king stands for all his subjects. His color refers to the alchemical red lion, symbol of sulfur, purified and sublimated by its amalgamation with mercury. This is exactly the idea hinted at by the attribution of north above to this key, inasmuch as the alchemical sulfur has to do with the fiery electromagnetic potency common to the sun, ruler of Leo, and to Mars, north. And this potency is directed by self-consciousness, Mercury above. The line also confirms the attribution of key 8 to Leo. You will remember that some mention of this was made in chapter 3. The one, what's chapter 3? Oh, the Empress. The woman tames the lion. In Dr. Waite's version, she shuts his mouth. In the BOTA version, reproduced here with, as in all the older versions, she opens it. This is preferable since to open the mouth is to make articulate, to give speech to. So Waite was always in keeping with his obligations, which was to silence, to not reveal the things that were privy to his organization. So here he put a subtle reminder for silence, which is in accordance with the Hermetic path, reduced to the Lemescape. But in the Bolta deck, we see it's not so much as in to blabber or to reveal secrets, but to be able to articulate them. And since this card is in relation to a spiritual sense, is to be able to articulate it to yourself, to understand these symbols and be able to articulate it, to be able to articulate these symbols, similar to what I just said, to give yourself the tools to work with it consciously. So I think that's dope. That again. The woman tames the lion. In Dr. Waite's version, she shuts his mouth. In the BOTA version, reproduced herewith, as in all older versions, she opens it. This is proverbial, since to open the mouth is to make articulate, to give speech to, and whatever has the power of speech is assimilated with humanity and impressed by thought, by human thought. When we assimilate the hostile, destructive, dangerous, wild forces in nature to the uses of mankind, we add to those forces the quality of human consciousness. Thus, electricity, the flaming thunderbolt, tamed and modified by man, is now, as alive as Levy predicted, what gives to human speech a universal reverberation and success. The meaning of the picture should now be plain. The great secret is the law that the subconsciousness is at all times in control of every subhuman manifestation of cosmic energy. The extent of this control is far greater than is usually supposed. Every force in nature, down to those of the inorganic mineral kingdom, is within the range of this subconscious direction. Actually, it is because of this that man is able to extend his dominion over the forces of his environment, even to the point where he may bring into actual manifestation chemical elements which, so far as we're able to determine from spectroscopic analysis of the stars, exist everywhere but not on this planet. Neptunium and plutonium, the elements brought into active manifestation by atomic fission, are truly thought born. Their genesis began with self-conscious mathematical analysis of the properties of matter. This analysis was then made this analysis was then made the basis of imagination and invention. The new elements began their existence in man's mind and became actual things in the external world as a result of mind-directed and mind-conceived works of man. Even greater things than these are possible for the adept who has mastered his own emotions and desires. That goes back to what he described as this wild, untamed setting in the card, and how we take these wild forces of nature and we tame them by means of human consciousness. And to tame these natural forces with consciousness is to bring them into manifestation. He used the examples of Neptunium and plutonium, which were only a result of a nuclear fission that they do not naturally exist here on Earth, but it was through mentation, through an act of the mind, an invention, that we actually brought this to manifestation, into actual materiality, into being. Subconsciousness always directs the activities of the subhuman forces of nature. This is true whether the action of those forces be hostile or friendly to man. Subconsciousness, in turn, is always amenable to impressions, originating at the self-conscious level of mentation. I just use the word mentation, that's why. What matters, therefore, is the kind of pattern we set. Our mental patterns are determined by self-conscious interpretations of experience. Let observation and attention, the magician, be faulty, superficial, negative, or fearful, and the resulting resulting sequence of subconscious reaction is bound to be destructive. So we see here that even though it's the strength card, the justice aspects does come into play. That you have to be mindful of what you ingest, how you think in terms of these scales of balance, because your greatest fear can't come to manifest. So I'm gonna read that again. What matters, therefore, is the kind of patterns we set. Our mental patterns are determined by self-conscious interpretation of experience. Let observation and attention, the magician, be faulty, superficial, negative, or fearful, and the resulting sequence of subconscious reactions is bound to be destructive. Then the spoken word and unuttered speech of thought, the chariot, will be vehicleless for a destructive pattern, and we shall set wild beasts at our own vitals. If you can't control them, they turn on you. We've all seen those videos where lions turned on the lion keepers, the people with the elephants turning on them. That's been a lot of those lately on videos. So yeah, change the pattern and you change the result. Make it accurate, profound, courageous, positive. Then you tame the lion and he becomes your servant. This indeed is the secret of all spiritual activities, the secret of strength, the secret of ultimate mastery. Your personal application of this secret to your own life will change everything for the better. Carry it further into all your social relations, and you will become one of that increasing number of builders of a new free world that shall realize the glory of the eternal splendor of the limitless life. In one sentence, he walked you up the whole fucking tree of life. God damn. He said here, carry it further into all your social relations, and you will become one of the increasing number of builders of a new free world that shall realize the glory, which is high, of the eternal splendor, which is Hokmah, of the limitless light, which is Ein Sof. few years ago, I played with the idea of raising chakras through words, and I would practice wording my Facebook and Instagram posts in terms of raising consciousness, and this let me know I was on to something. This was powerful. So I'm going to stop right here. My plan is tonight, I'm just going to stay up late and we'll get this last hour or so in. Shouldn't be too much more. We haven't tackled any of Judica Illis's Book of Spirits. We've had more than enough deities mentioned, especially in Barbara G. Walker's The Secrets of Tarot. We'll look up all those deities in there. Some good Bible verses will drop, so I'll break out the Bible. We'll get to Barbara G. Walker's The Woman's Encyclopedia of Myths and Secrets. When we get to the Kabbalistic Tarot by Robert Wang, we'll break out Godwin's Kabbalistic Encyclopedia. And we also have the Woman's Dictionary of Symbols and Sacred Objects. And let's not forget Dolores Ashcroft Nowicki's The Shining Paths. Shining Paths will be used in tandem with the Kabbalistic Tarot. So, having said that, I'll see you later this evening. Not this evening, it'd be this night. I'm gonna wait till the family go to sleep and we'll do it like that thereof. I'm just trying to find my place. So when I get started tonight, I go right to it. Okay. Put my Rider Waite card in here as a placekeeper. And having said that, man, I don't know how long we've been getting down, but thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And we'll definitely get into something that's going to do something later tonight. So we're going to wrap this up. Remember, as always, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Feel free to hit me up in the comments. Maybe you made a connection I didn't. Maybe you are an adept and you could tell me something that I actually got wrong or overlooked. I'm always looking to grow. I remain the eternal student. So again, thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in to Occult Topics with the Professor. And we will definitely be getting down tonight. And having said that, we're going to log out and I got to get ready to go.